Good morning to all our listeners tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News, today on April 23, 2024. We're diving into a major development from South Africa. Former President Jacob Zuma and his new political party, Umkhonto we Sizwe, have overcome several legal challenges, allowing them to contest in the upcoming general election. In a recent decision, the Durban High Court dismissed attempts by the African National Congress to force MK to change its name and logo, citing delays and procedural errors in their approach. In other news from the region, despite facing multiple corruption allegations, Zuma's popularity remains strong in his home province of KwaZulu-Natal, bolstering his party's electoral position. The Electoral Court has further solidified this by overturning a previous ban on Zuma's candidacy for parliament. This comes after the Electoral Commission's argument against Zuma's qualifications was rejected, stating his previous prison sentence was effectively nullified due to a remission on health grounds. These rulings are crucial as they not only pave the way for Zuma's return to the political arena but also seem to quell some of the political unrest that his arrest in 2021 incited. As South Africa prepares for the elections, with options to vote for independent candidates as well, the political landscape is bristling with activity. Analysts caution, however, that the intense media focus on Zuma could influence public opinion and polling results. And in a final note, as this legal drama unfolds, the Electoral Commission is not stepping back, having lodged an urgent appeal with the Constitutional Court to challenge the Electoral Court's verdict. This ongoing saga underscores the broader issues facing South Africa, including high unemployment, a cost of living crisis, and significant public safety concerns. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor these developments closely. Hello everyone, I'm Emily and you're tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News, where we bring you the freshest and most crucial news updates every day. Joining me is the ever insightful David, who's here to offer his expert analysis on today's stories.
Thanks, Emily. It's great to be here and I'm eager to dive into these developments with you.
Absolutely, David. And to all our listeners out there, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel, enable those notifications, and leave us a comment. Your engagement is what keeps us going, and sharing our episodes with your friends and family helps us bring you more of the news you need to know. Now, you won't believe what I'm about to disclose. Hot off the press, we've got a story out of South Africa that's making waves internationally. Former President Jacob Zuma is making headlines again, and the implications could be huge not just for South Africa, but for international perceptions of justice and democracy. Stay tuned as we unpack why this matters to you.
That's right, Emily. The dynamics of this case could influence not just political futures but also economic stability in the region. It's something our listeners will want to keep an eye on.
Hot off the press.
Can you elaborate on the significance of the Durban High Court's decision for Zuma and his party?
Absolutely. This decision essentially reaffirms the legal standing of Jacob Zuma's new political party, allowing them to retain their identity and momentum as they head into the elections. It's a major boost not just politically but also financially, as changing their logo and name could have been costly.
How does Zuma's continued influence in KwaZulu-Natal affect the broader political landscape in South Africa?
Zuma's stronghold in KwaZulu-Natal is pivotal. His popularity there hasn't waned despite the corruption charges. This means he can significantly sway the electoral outcomes in this province, which could be critical in a tightly contested election.
With the judiciary appearing to step back, what should voters be mindful of in the upcoming election?
Voters should watch for the impact of these legal battles on the electoral process itself. While the judiciary is maintaining a hands-off approach, the decisions made now will set precedents for future electoral and judicial engagements in the country.
And finally, could you share a piece of trivia about South Africa's political system that our listeners might find intriguing?
Certainly. Did you know that South Africa is one of the few countries that utilizes a proportional representation voting system at both the national and provincial levels? This system allows for a wide variety of parties to be represented in parliament, reflecting a broad spectrum of public opinion, which is quite different from the winner-takes-all systems used in many other democracies.
What does this recent legal victory tell us about the current state of the ANC's influence over its offshoots and affiliates?
This tells us that the ANC's grip may be loosening. The failure to shut down Umkhonto Wesuswe's use of the name and logo not only showcases the legal acumen of Zuma's team but also hints at a shifting dynamic within the broader liberation movement family. It's a sign of internal divisions becoming more public and contentious.
Given Jacob Zuma's personal history with the ANC and its armed wing, how significant is his support for this new party?
It's quite significant. Zuma's endorsement brings not just a symbolic linkage to the ANC's revolutionary past, but also a very tangible political momentum. His charisma and enduring popularity in KwaZulu-Natal could be the lifeblood of Umkhonto Wesuswe as they carve out their space in the political landscape.
Could this case have implications for future electoral challenges in South Africa?
Absolutely. The judge's decision to dismiss the ANC's claims on the basis of timing rather than merit sets a precedent. It indicates that parties must act swiftly and through the proper legal channels. This could impact how electoral disputes are managed moving forward, making timing a critical factor in legal strategies.
And what about the financial implications mentioned by Patty Harper?
The financial stakes were high. If Umkhonto Wesuswe had been forced to rebrand, it could have devastated their campaign before it even really started. Managing a campaign is expensive, and logistical challenges like these can cripple a party's visibility and voter outreach efforts. Speaking of surprising developments, have you heard the latest out of Silicon Valley? It seems there's a groundbreaking technology on the horizon that could redefine how we interact with our devices. It's always something new and exciting from that corner of the world.
How does the recent judiciary decision to reject the Electoral Commission's ban on Mr. Zuma's candidacy impact the election dynamics?
The judiciary's decision is pivotal. It not only reinstates Mr. Zuma's political viability but also sends a strong message about the independence of the courts from political pressures. This can significantly alter the voters' perception and possibly influence the election results by mobilizing Zuma's supporters who see this as a vindication.
Given the tumultuous events following Mr. Zuma's arrest in 2021, how might his re-entry into politics affect public sentiment and potential unrest?
It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, his re-entry might invigorate his base, leading to increased voter turnout among his supporters. On the other, it could reignite tensions that led to the riots in KwaZulu-Natal, especially among those who view his legal troubles as unresolved or indicative of deeper issues within the political system.
With the ANC possibly losing its majority for the first time in 30 years, what does this mean for the political landscape in South Africa?
This could be a transformative moment for South African politics. A weakened ANC could lead to more coalition governments, which might either lead to more balanced governance or greater legislative gridlock, depending on how these coalitions function. Either way, it will encourage a more pluralistic political debate.
And what about MK's potential to siphon votes from other parties, particularly the Inkatha Freedom Party?
That's an interesting angle. By appealing to the same voter base, MK could indeed fragment the IFP's hold, especially in regions like KwaZulu-Natal. This could lead to a significant reshuffling of voter allegiances and potentially alter the provincial legislative composition.
It sounds like MK's rise and the controversies surrounding Mr. Zuma could really reshape South African politics in unexpected ways.
Absolutely, the outcome of these elections could set the tone for South Africa's political future for the next decade. The stakes are incredibly high.
With so many parties and independent candidates in the mix, how might this affect voter turnout and election outcomes?
The presence of a broad array of choices, including a strong showing from independent candidates, could potentially increase voter turnout. It reflects a responsiveness to public demand for more direct representation, which could invigorate the electorate. However, it could also lead to a more fragmented parliament, complicating the formation of a stable government.
And the ongoing legal battles involving Mr. Zuma, how are they playing into the public's perception of the electoral process?
These legal skirmishes are a double-edged sword. While they keep Mr. Zuma and MK in the spotlight, potentially rallying their base, they also contribute to a sense of fatigue and cynicism among voters. The concern is that this could either mobilize a backlash against perceived judicial overreach or alienate voters who are tired of politics being played out in the courtroom rather than the parliament.
Ficombalula's criticism of the media's focus on Zuma suggests a defensive stance from the ANC. How significant is this?
It's quite telling. The ANC's criticism of the media reflects a strategic attempt to refocus the narrative on broader electoral issues rather than Zuma's legal controversies. It's an attempt to control the election discourse and guide it towards areas where they perhaps feel they have more control or positive influence.
With the Constitutional Court now involved, what should we expect next in this legal saga?
The involvement of the Constitutional Court escalates the stakes significantly. It's the same court that previously sentenced Mr. Zuma, so its decision on the Electoral Court's ruling will be highly scrutinized. Whatever the outcome, it's likely to be seen as a bellwether for the judiciary's independence and its role in shaping South Africa's democratic landscape. As we continue to monitor these developments, it's clear that the blend of high political drama and critical national issues will keep the electorate, and indeed our listeners, keenly tuned into what happens next. Thanks for tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News today. We've navigated through the intricate political landscape of South Africa, focusing on key legal battles and electoral changes. We appreciate your engagement and would love for you to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. It's your support that keeps our discussions lively and informed.
And remember, folks, keeping up with global politics doesn't have to be as dry as my grandma's turkey. We're here to spice it up. Tune in daily, you never know what might come up next, but I promise, it'll be worth your while. Maybe next time, we'll even have some insider scoops or unexpected guest appearances.
We're grateful for your continued interest and can't wait to bring you more insightful content. Remember, your participation makes all the difference in how we shape our discussions.
Thanks again for joining us on Hot Topic and Fresh News. Don't just stay tuned, stay engaged, stay curious. And hey, keep those comments coming. We love reading them, yes, even the funny ones.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news, our channel's content will amuse.